Today we're going to be talking about the Nikki Lauda T.50 S and also interviewing somebody in a successful dealership selling Maybachs. Hey everybody, welcome back to Carside Chat. I'm your host, VIPPrimo, and today we're going to be talking about the Nikki Lauda T.50 S. We're also going to be doing an interview with a friend salesperson of mine, somebody who I've known for a very long time, who has sold his first Maybach, and he works in a very high-end dealership, so we get a chance to really talk about what that's like, what kind of experience it is, and if it's something that you're looking to get into, we want to make sure that you get that information and kind of know the differences between things and kind of what to expect. So the first thing I want to go over today, obviously like and subscribe, hit the bell icon. We want you to make sure that you don't miss a single thing on this channel. I don't know if I should ever say that again because I feel like this isn't going to be the only thing of YouTube. We're going to have things in other areas too. I want to do some stuff with Twitch. This is going to be a big year for us, so I want to expand out and do other things, but I kind of feel like some of this wording is limiting me, so who knows, maybe we'll cut some of that out. And I mean, this is it, this is professional, right? You got to be professional, so, and you should too. So the first thing that I wanted to discuss today was during the Corvette video. I am a huge person when it comes to numbers. I like everything to be meticulous and exact, and when we made the Callaway Sledgehammer video, it was kind of my first time back, and a lot of the stuff I did by memory, which was not exactly the most accurate thing, as you can see. So, but we tried our best to get everything out there, and a lot of things I did do different sources and pulled the information in. I don't know where it was lost in translation, so there are some inaccuracies in that video. So I'm going to ask a little bit of forgiveness from everybody. Like I said, if you hear it, the main goal and the purpose of it was obviously the Callaway Sledgehammer is and has been a very fast car for a very long time. So the reality is that the video is accurate. There's just some numbers that were given, such as the top speed of the Lamborghini Countach was like 3 miles per hour off. The top speed record that the McLaren held, I think, was 240 versus 220. So there's a couple of things that, like I said, needed to be a little fact checked. They don't make 83. They didn't make an 83 Corvette, I believe was the name to it. And it's one of those things of, there's a lot of information that I've heard over the years, and I have to say, information that's over 40 years old, some of it I have forgotten. So I'm okay with people fact checking me. It is what it is. I hope you guys do it. The other thing that I think that's imperative, especially for this channel and any channel going forward, is to make sure that we don't just fact check. Give me information about what you guys are looking for. If you're looking to see what it's like to be a salesperson, if you want to know what it's like to drive a fast car, we're going to do some more of that stuff that we've done in the past, and give us that input, not just on the back end when things have fallen apart. Give it to us ahead of time so that we can make sure we give you the best content available. That's the beauty of the comment section. It's not something you're going to get on regular television or any of that stuff. This is the new wave. We're breaking free, and all the good things that come with it are just, it's awesome. And it's very exciting for me, and I hope it's exciting for you. So I hope you guys get on the train. Let's get this going and make a success. So recently, Gordon Murray, if you know this guy, he's done a car that we actually discussed earlier, which was the McLaren F1. So he's no stranger to making the fastest car production model vehicle in the world. And it held that title for quite some time. Gordon does not scrimp on aerodynamics. It's what his wheelhouse. He was an engineer on an F1 team. So he's big on aerodynamics. He's big on downforce. He understands the whole concept. I mean, he put gold as a heat shield for the McLaren F1. I mean, and look at the company that really has spawned off of basically a one-trick pony, other than obviously having a successful race team. I know you guys are going to get all over me about that. But when it comes to actual model vehicles that's built for the street, the McLaren F1 was a single car that was a benchmark. Yeah, it was for a long time a one-hit wonder. But look at what McLaren has done today. They make bang for buck some of the best cars out there. There's a lot of guys that are really becoming McLaren fanboys, if you will, and I can't ever blame them for not being it. But that engineering, that quality, the standard that went into that vehicle came from Gordon's past, if you will, and built up to it. So today he's building another vehicle, and I just find it funny that this vehicle hasn't gotten as much press or hype that I've seen. Most of the times I see it all over the place, and it just kind of quietly is in the background, and that's the T50. The T50 brings some of his history working with Nikki Lauda when they built a fan-driven motor into the back of the vehicle, and this helped with downforce. One of the things that he was most concerned is that it required a driver that was okay with going over. So let's say you hit a turn at let's say 80 miles per hour, you can hit that turn at 30 miles per hour faster. And that really is kind of the trick to speed today. And a lot of companies today are focusing on it, not just top speed, but how to get cornering speed down. Now, do I think fans are going to be the history in cars? No. But Gordon is okay with making vehicles that are engineering dynamically from a standpoint of saying this is what automotive perfection looks like. Not that it's going to be overproduced. Obviously, the center seating position that he used again on the T50 is something that you probably will not see in a lot of vehicles. I've only seen it in 2 other concept cars. I'm sure there's others that have had it. But personally, having said, hey, there's a center seating position, I've only seen it 2 other times, and both those times those vehicles failed because they weren't up to basically the Gordon standard. So that's the thing is now we have somebody who's creating a great vehicle, who's put it to another level, and has made a production vehicle that I think is definitely worthy of being some of a collector status vehicle. Then he went one further with the T.50 S, the Nikki Lauda model. He is very good friends with Nikki Lauda. So they plan to produce limited numbered vehicles. Each vehicle has its own specific name and is bespoke to that one vehicle. So that's really intense, but it gets better. The vehicle is actually powered by a 3.9 liter V12 that makes over 700 horsepower at 11,500 RPMs. It has a red line of 12,500 RPMs. Cosworth, who is one of my favorite automotive engine companies, has come together to make this vehicle and just make an incredible engine for this car. So check this out so you can take a listen. So what makes a vehicle great would obviously be, craftsmanship. And then we look at things like cutting edge engineering technology. That's a check. If we look at the power and speed, not only does it check it in the straights, but it also does it in the corners. And also its revolutionary look and the feel of it. This car is going to come with the racing team, basically the support of the Gordon Murray team when it comes with it. So you're getting an incredible piece of vehicle for, obviously the price tag is going to be immense. This is it's a very cool moment to see. And I want to see more from this car. I want to see some track numbers. I want to see some people test this thing and see what it's going to represent down the road. I just think it's kind of amazing vehicle. And I want to see more of it coming from the future. So, all right, everybody, welcome to the interview section. Today I have an exciting guest on. Everybody meet Eric Ilchenko from Mercedes of Somerville. How you doing, Eric?
Not too bad, Alan. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. So what I want to do is, I think this is something that's super important. I get calls, contacts all the time from people who are looking to get into this business. And it's something that is very difficult for people to kind of understand, or sometimes it's too big. They'll usually set their sights a little low, or they'll set it in the wrong areas, or they kind of think, hey, I really don't have a way to get into this. And you're one of those guys that started off doing this and kind of set these standards in the right area. And I just want you to give everybody an idea of kind of what you do, where you came from, and how you started.
All right. So we'll take it way back. No family in the auto industry, no friends in the auto industry, nobody. I've always been obsessed with cars, and everyone told me to run from the industry, especially because I have a college degree in marketing and finance. They told me, you can be put to better use. So I said, all right, I want to work in the car industry. So I went and bought a suit, and I went from dealer to dealer asking for jobs. And of course, I chose all the high-end stuff. Like I went to Ferrari and BMW, went down the whole auto mile, and no one gave me an offer. And one day, a friend of a friend knew the GM of Mercedes of Boston, and I scheduled like an informational interview. And I essentially walked in and was like, "Give me a job, give me a job." And they gave me a job as a valet. I took a huge pay cut from what I was doing at the time. And
What were you doing before?
uh, I worked in the e-commerce industry, and I also worked in the wholesale alcohol industry. And before then, I worked for a wholesaler that sold to like TJ Maxx and stuff like that. So I
Nice.
left that for the auto industry, and I was like, "Give me a job," hired me. I went from being a valet to kind of like an intern. So my title was a valet, but I really just did everything. And I just was really passionate. I really enjoyed myself. And I kept saying every day, "Hire me for sales, hire me for sales." And I graduated school. They gave me the offer for sales, which in the Mercedes world, you're skipping positions going from valet to sales. Usually it's you go from valet, then you kind of run the loaner cars, then you become like a delivery specialist, and then sales.
Yeah, I was going to say, because today there's kind of this middle thing that kind of started basically when I got out. They had kind of a person who says, I know everything about the car. And when somebody delivers the car, they sit down and kind of talk to them and everything. So you kind of skip that position.
Yeah, I was offered it, but I showed no interest. And, I was really passionate about selling, but I was also really passionate about people and cars. And I just, being armed with a college degree in the auto industry helps you a lot. And I just basically said, I want to get right into sales. And they gave me the chance, and here we are, 10 months later.
Yeah. And I think that's something that a lot of guys today don't really think about when it comes to kind of getting into the car sales. Like I kind of look at people and I say, you do the, how do I say this? You do the research of things and you say, I'm gonna be a photographer, or I'm gonna do some kind of business development. And what they do is they forget that all of this stuff is really powered by this marketing thing. And those kind of trainings and stuff really empower you to be better down the road. And somebody is going to have you sell like a big expensive car to a customer who's I'm sure has very specific tastes. You need to be at the situation of saying, I know how to sell to that person. Would that be accurate?
Definitely. Not only just sell, but like how to talk with these people. Like when you're a valet, it poses a unique opportunity to really prove yourself that you can talk with anyone from a billionaire to a construction worker and have them all like you. And a lot of people who do that don't see that opportunity.
Yeah,
So
it makes sense.
it's basically
So
just talking, and selling really comes second because selling you need to learn. It's they look at you and they're like, "Are you marketable? Can you talk to anyone?"
yeah. Did you feel that it was hard to go from kind of that being trained in marketing to going into sales?
Yeah, it was hard, but nothing that's worth doing is going to be easy. So I'd say I was more nervous about the whole thing than nervous about learning it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense to me. See, that's the beauty of this too. Is it's kind of I some of these questions I hate to say it because like we both worked in kind of the same kind of dealership chain, and we come from the same kind of background. Just because I sold a different kind of car, we literally had the same customers. They would go to you on the Friday and then come to me on the weekend. So it was like I kind of knew how those things were and how they're difficult. But what I loved best about these brands that I didn't really get from some of the things, like for instance selling Hondas, and I don't want to single out Hondas per se, but it's something that I think everybody identifies with, is that when you sell a Mercedes or you sell a $200,000 car, a $500,000 car, that's a person that's going to be friends with you long down the road. So you are a person who comes in and buys a Honda may come in and say, look, I just need the car, I just need everything, they're out the door. But when they come to you, you're building relationships, right?
Yes, it's definitely much deeper. Uh, a Mercedes, quite frankly, no one needs it, but everyone just wants it. So when you're selling it, you got to give the customer the experience. And when you give them a good experience, you become part of it. You get to hear stories, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you deliver the car and you're spending time with these people, it forges relationships with the customers that are open to it.
Right.
Of course, we still get customers that give me the keys, I want to head out, and it's not a problem. But it's pretty cool when you deal with people from all walks of life.
Yeah. And that's the thing is people find it hard for them to believe that. I said, all the people that we've, I guess, worked with from not just sold cars, but I had other people that had sold cars that worked in it, but they were just, this was their brand, and that was the thing is we forged these relationships with them, and we still have these relationships today. And the other thing is I don't know about how much so much for Mercedes, but especially with any brand, like even with the Jaguar, with the Range Rovers, especially with Lamborghini, Bentley and Rolls, and Maserati and Jaguar. Maserati is a little bit from a step up, if you say from a Jaguar when it comes to the customer standpoint. But like I said, these guys it's such a small world. And what we found out is that, Bob knows Harry and Harry knows Sally, and, all these people knew each other. So when you were friends with one person and you knew them, that was it. That was a relationship. And they were talking to their friend, and now you're friends with other people. And now they're asking you to hang out on the weekend and, go out to these driving events, or, now you're putting together a party. And especially with that, you build these relationships that last you forever. And it's something that you'll understand. But I've had arguments with guys that, sell Infinities, and they didn't understand it. And I said, it's a little bit different once you take that next step. And even though you've done those, you sold Lexuses, you sold Infinities, you sold, any of these high-end brands, you still come back to that idea of these customers. There's a different kind of thinking that goes into them. And they don't want people that come in that's a typical salesperson that says, oh, well, this is great. And this is great. Let me show you the horsepower. You really want to sell them on the experience that they're going to have with that vehicle. I mean, am I wrong?
100% true.
Yeah.
Like one of the biggest things I do is I take people on a tour of the dealership, because we're an indoor dealership. So it's a little different. And I always touch upon the service department of how we do pickup and drop off. Now we have valets and the cars are stored inside. You get roadside assistance. So it's more than just a product, but it's also, the whole company, the whole business, your ownership experience. Like, instead of saying, oh, you'll never get a flat tire, you'll never break down, we say, if it does happen, you have 24-hour roadside. So it's kind of, it's the whole experience.
Yeah. And not only that, but the relationship of also taking care of them. And I mean, you're in, I don't know what is like your rating. You're top in the United States or something like that, isn't it? Isn't your Somerville?
I don't know exactly. I do know that in the Northeast region, my dealership is typically number 1 or number 2.
Mm-hmm.
We are a bigger one, but I don't think we're top in the US. I think at one point we were, but with the expansion of like these publicly traded dealer groups, it's like,
right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they're just becoming a machine, and it's weird.
Yeah.
I'm definitely, on another note, working for a privately owned dealer group is a blessing.
Exactly. Well, the other thing I can't explain, and it's funny because, and I'm not going to bash anybody. I'm not going to say anybody does less of an experience. Everybody has obviously their kind of experience, and some are different. There are places out there that I would suggest people not going, but I would definitely, the experience that we have, and I've heard not only from my personal experience, from the experience I've heard from people that deal with the Somerville location, it's just a different level, and it's very personal. And I think that's the idea of being able to take care of the customer, maybe the customer centric thinking, if you will, to make sure that people are taken care of in such a personal way, and something that I say is passion, which is why I really kind of embrace the idea of how, you guys handle your business. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So now the beauty of this moment, and one of the reasons why I wanted you on, because a lot of people out there, it's funny because Eric, I actually knew Eric a long time before he actually took the business he was, and he stopped by when I was working at the Lamborghini dealership. and he got passionate about it. I think we had a couple of conversations before, and I think you kind of had was it basically IM messages afterwards? That was the thing, right?
Yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah,
It
and
was
so
that long
he had.
ago.
So he had said, that's it. I'm coming into this. I'm going to do this, and it's going to be a big deal. And can you tell everybody what was your big step that you just did?
A couple weeks ago, I sold the first Mybach GLS 600 in the Northeast,
And
and it
that
was
is a
it was the
serious
only
car.
one in the specific color in the U.S.
Nice. That is awesome. Now, what did that experience feel like for you when you first did it?
Uh, so let's talk about the Maybach for a little bit.
Oh,
So
please.
the dealership I work at is actually the corporate headquarters for Herb Chambers. So if you don't know who Herb Chambers is, he's a larger than life celebrity in New England. Everyone knows who he is. And he has extremely good taste in cars. And I like flashy cars. So he ordered this Maybach for himself. It was brilliant blue, which is like a blueberry blue. And the interior seats were like a reddish brown, and the rest of the interior was tan. It had the 23-inch wheels. The fridge in the back thing was crazy. And he ended up not taking it. So it came up for sale. And we have two guys at the dealership that have been there, 25 years each. So they're the big shots. They're the ones that sell the AMGs and the Maybachs and everything. And when I found out the car was for sale, I just absolutely made it my mission to sell the car. I went through every single person I've seen, which isn't that many because I've been there under a year. And I sent a few text messages to a female customer of mine, really good customer, and she made an offer on it. We went back and forth a little bit, and she bought the car. And it was a weird feeling because I had the big shots of the dealership coming up to me and congratulating me, and it was weird. I mean, I didn't expect it to happen, even though I was trying to make it happen.
Right. So when you're delivering a vehicle like that, obviously, and everybody asks me, what's it like to take delivery of a vehicle? I've never sold a Maybach before. I really wanted to get into it, and there was some times that I've gotten very close to, I guess, dealing with dealer groups that did. But what is that experience like for the customer? How is it different than, say, even a Mercedes or maybe like, any other kind of luxury brand? Because it's definitely high end.
It's not going to be great to hear, but whether you're buying a $30,000 GLA from me or a $200,000 Maybach, you're going to get the same exact treatment. There's no special treatment.
And I think that's a good thing. I think that is the idea that you're getting the same kind of experience from both whatever you're buying from. And I'm sure if you had anything from like, a Honda Fit or SUV on the lot and somebody came in, you would sell it the same way. And I think if I'm going to tell anybody out there that's saying, hey, I'm looking to get into this, I'm looking to do something like this, or maybe I'm even looking to purchase a Maybach or some sort of nice Mercedes and I need somebody to go to, obviously Eric's the guy. But that really does show the reason that people like yourself end up ending in these top end brands, end up going to the positions that you're in, and end up being successful in the business is because you treat every car and every person at that level. And what it does is it actually pulls you up to the level, because I know when I was doing Jaguar, that was one big thing that they loved was I didn't treat the Jaguar customer like they were any different. I treated them like they were, basically kings and kings and queens. And they loved the idea of that happening. The idea that the information was there, it was fast. We're getting, once you're in that zone and getting back to people, the people that run the show hear about it and they come back and they find you and they go, I need you. This is where you're going to be. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's the thing is I just think it's a great experience to be able, it's great to see somebody who started from your position. And that's the idea. Once somebody's hungry and they want it and you want it bad enough, sometimes that means taking a pay cut. Sometimes that means, doing some things that you probably don't want to do, but you're able to focus and get your dreams. And I mean, that's the thing is you're super happy in the job you're doing, right?
I love it. And I do want to get sidetracked a little bit. So we talked about the Maybach, but after the Maybach sale, like for me personally, I just had an absolute influx of high-end car sales, like deals I've been like working on, and people I've been trying to, like it all started coming together. And although the Maybach was really cool, the one I hold dearest to me was I sold our 2020 AMG GTR, which, if you guys aren't familiar with Mercedes, it's like the modern take on the Gullwing. It's the highest end car we make.
Oh, it's a race car.
Yeah, it has like R compound tires, ceramic brakes. It's an absolute monster. But ours was interesting because it was a convertible. Not my taste. It's not something I'd buy, but it was extremely rare. And on my first day on the job, I told the guy who sat next to me, I said, I want to sell that car. Like, that's my dream. I want to sell the car. And it's funny because when I sold it, I have to admit, it wasn't because I'm a good salesman. It's not why I sold it. I was sitting on my desk. I sit at the front, making calls, doing whatever. And I see a convertible AMG GT pulling into the parking lot. And I think, now's my chance. This is the only person in the world that's going to buy this car.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes in, very good customer. And I said, how can I help you? And she said, I'm here for the GTR. And I guess she spoke with a manager beforehand, and the numbers were all worked out. It was just right place, right time. I just recognized the opportunity and just took it. And it's funny because you would think the salesman would say the one where you overcame the most objections is the best sale, but to me it was that one. Just 'cause the car was just nuts.
Yeah. Well, the thing, if there's anything that I can make a suggestion, obviously I'm genuinely interested in your success. I genuinely want to see you succeed, and you put in the work, obviously, to get there. The thing that I always tell people now is, because the brand that you're in definitely breeds other brands. It breeds bigger brands. It breeds customers that really just want to come in and be a part of this experience that you're going to give them. And that's the thing is, as I say, experience. The thing that is really important for me is when I was doing the stuff I was doing, a lot of people will work that kind of 9 to 5 thing, and they shut off, and that's it. Once they've done the thing and come home and ended their day, it is what it is. And sales is very difficult because it absorbs 80% of your time a lot of times. But with the brands that I said, when we're going to that next level, so it's not just Mercedes or Maybach, or, now we're getting up to the Bentleys and the Rolls. Once you're getting into that 500,000 number, it was getting to the point of where I said, it's not just about that showroom time. That showroom time was kind of taken away from what I really wanted to do, which was, like I was saying before, building those relationships. And that was the thing is it became not just a job, but it became a lifestyle. It became, okay, we get, what are we doing tonight? Okay, we're getting off work at whatever, 6, 7, something like that. And then now I'm going up to Boston to do some unveiling or some opening of somebody's, bar or stand or business or something like that. And then we were starting to support those. Even if I didn't get support from the store, I did the support myself and said, you know what, I'm going to get behind this and support these brands and support these things. And the thing that happened afterwards is that now these people now I'm shaking hands with other people. And because it's such a limited market, the people that were buying the cars that we were selling, they're not everywhere. So you really you can't wait from the walk in the door. You have to go out and seek them out. Right.
Absolutely.
So that's the thing is if anybody's interested in doing something like this down the road, if you're interested in taking your business or yourself to the next level, it takes a lot of dedication. It takes sometimes sacrifice, and it takes somebody who's willing to do what it takes to get to that next level. And Eric has proven, obviously, straight off the bat here, and we're so proud of him to actually have said that he's willing to do what it takes to get to the next level. We know he's going to keep going on. He's going to keep in touch with us down the road, right?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So, and that's the thing is we're going to hope to at some point in the near future go up and actually film one of the cars, feature something, have him kind of do a walk around on us and show us what it's like to kind of see one of these vehicles. And when we get the time, obviously this pandemic's got to go at some point, and when it does, we'll have plenty of time to come up. So, Eric, thank you for coming out today. I hope you had a fun time.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect, buddy. So we'll keep in touch. You guys have a great day, and we will be back soon. So that's our show for today, guys. I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been an amazing show. Car show season is coming up, but we're still in the middle of basically a pandemic level experience here, and a lot of pushback is going to happen. I hope that you will make your voices heard and push the idea of continuing having events and having events the right way. It's something that we're going to be bringing up in this show, and I want to really have a discussion about how to bring vehicle shows to the next level and kind of avoid variations that are going to get you in trouble, things that are going to put you in a place that you don't want to be. Obviously, and I know this is odd to say, but there's a way to do car shows, car events, car drives that will allow you to drive your vehicles very fast, up over 160, 180 miles per hour, and do them in ways that never requires the cops to show up, and they'll actually appreciate you for doing it the way you did it. That's important, to be able to do an event and say, I can do everything I did and nobody ever questions it, nobody ever has to worry, and building up that attention, the relationship to it. But it's going to take a little bit of work, and again, there's going to be organizations that are going to be a pushback to us, so we got to push a little bit forward to this. Work with your agencies, work with the people out there, but continue to bring us stuff to content. We've been stuck inside for a while, and we're dying to have some car shows. Just remember that the next show you have might have a huge turnout that you really weren't prepared for, so be ready for it. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the show today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We got some other videos over here that we want you to check out. That's the thing, is I'm kind of wondering where we're going to go from here. We have a lot of different content that we want to discuss with you, and we're going to have it on here soon. So as always, check it out, and don't forget to drive.